your taxes to the city of Ironwood, and I will close Ironwood to the fourth step into bankruptcy. Get yourself an attorney. Pay your taxes to the attorney because then the county can't cut your property. And let it go that route.
Louise,
Then we have no Ironwood.
Louise, you have a short memory because the Sisu Ski Fest did approach the DID when you were on the DID, and they were asking for that help, for that input from the people that you represent. So
And then we heard from Eva on how we should put up a hot chocolate cake.
Eva was the only one on that DID that was actually trying to do something for the downtown people. She really was.
I don't understand why you're laughing about that. I really don't. Collectively, you pay $12,000 a year in special taxes to the DIDA. And I don't understand why all of you aren't more critical of the way that money is spent. I don't get that. I don't know how many of you are members of the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't know why more of you aren't critical about where were they to promote your interests for the Ski Fest. I don't understand the direction of your anger.
Anger?
Yes. I don't understand why you're directing it at the race and not to the existing organizations that are supposed to be looking out for your interests.
Well, Steve is correct on one thing. That this group here needs to direct to the City Council and the DDA, both, draft a letter and give also, it's even better when you come in numbers as far as the actual physical person and voice it at those two meetings. The DDA hands is tied to a point as far as they have a very small budget and they can't do a whole lot with that. As far as road closings, that's the city council, that's the city itself. That's who is over all the road closings. The biggest concern here with everybody, all the businesses downtown, was the way the road was closed. That's your real main concern, because you lost revenue, because the road was closed because nobody could get to you. So you need to have someone draft a letter, everybody sign it, present it to the DDA, present it to the city council. And then if next year, when the race comes again, if the same concerns are there and they don't listen to your concerns, then you go to take other measures. But that's the first step. It's not the road closures is not the race people's fault. Okay? It's the city council's fault. It's the city government's fault for the road closures. Because the race committee can't close roads. All they can do is suggest a route where they want to start and end. As far as closing the roads, that's up to the public safety, that's up to Scott Erickson, the city manager, of saying which roads to close, which not to close. As far as business 2, which they closed completely, just about, that also is up to the state, because they have to pull a permit to close business US 2 through the state. I heard it was pulled, I've heard it wasn't pulled, I don't know, if it was or if it wasn't pulled. But to close Aurora Street, at least up to Suffolk Street, that's business US 2. And you have to have a state permit to close that. And that's all done through the city. That's not done through a race organization. It's done through the city government. So we need to draft a letter to the city council, to the DDA, and voice your concerns that way. That's the correct people to voice them to. If you don't get no answers from them, then you go up higher from there. You can go to the MDOT as far as with business 2. As far as with the other local roads, I'm really not for sure who else with the higher authority would be the county, but I don't know if the county has anything to do with city road closures.
No, they don't.
But that's the first step. We already accomplished the first step, is you got together as a group. The second step really would be to form a business association. And then you're one entity, one voice. And the third step is to go ahead and write a letter to the city council. Put it in writing. Don't just go to the meeting because the minutes will just reflect that citizen so-and-so said, they were displeased. Put exactly what everybody's been saying here in writing. Closing the business 2, Aurora Street. And that you can't tolerate that next year. And they need to they can still come downtown. They can still make it to the Memorial Building, but not coming straight down Aurora Street. Aurora Street has the majority of the businesses that are left here in Ironwood. That's the main street of where the majority of the businesses are. They can come an alternate route through to get to the Memorial Building. And then, there were suggestions of busing the people to the theater, or they can walk to the theater. I mean, have Aurora Street open, because that way, and then the businesses also can come together and come to a consensus. We'll stay open a little bit later that night of the race. For that way, when the racers are over, they can come to the shops and stuff, because they're out, racing all day. They're not going to come to the shops, but then during the day, at least if the street's open, your normal, regular customers are going to come and shop. And then if you stay open a little bit later for those days of the race, then maybe you might pull in some of the racers after they're done with the race. They'll come and shop, or at least look in the business, look in your businesses, and hopefully come back later. But the next step to do is to draft a letter and put it in writing of your concerns of closing down the downtown, the streets, and bring that to the city council. And the city council should be able to get an answer of who's in charge of closing the streets. And that's about all I have to say.